This is the Flex Network, a double feature tonight. I know you might not know that we did that, but we did. Shane, why are we what are we doing here? Are we that desperate for some views that we have to review your home league auction draft?
Look,
These guys need to
after we got
know.
out of my auction, everybody's like, we need you guys to review it on the cast. And I said, listen, I think I've got the best team. Although a week later, I'm not so sure about that anymore. But I wanted a completely impartial opinion on this. And I thought, what better than to go to the expert, Flex Matt. So
hold
we
on,
have
Shane.
our teams in front of us. I'm just going to run it down real quick for everybody. So
White Claw ready.
Oh, we're White Claw now. Here we go. So it's a 10-team league. This is my home league. I've been in this league now for, I don't know, 5, 6, 7 years. We've been doing it as an auction. But I've been playing with these guys for well over a decade. So we know each other's tendencies pretty well. Every year is a challenge. Every year is different. And it's pretty straightforward. It's 1 quarterback, 2 running backs, 2 wide receivers, a tight end. Finally, this year we added in a second flex spot. So it's 2 flex spots.
Oh, yes.
Defense.
First of all, I just want to say to your leagues, I'm slightly getting on board with the league, because everywhere we have been suggesting that every league, we have suggested this since May. I feel like every league should be adding a flex spot, especially if you don't run a 3 wide receiver league. I mean, it should, my other home league, I suggested this 2 years ago, and it's 2, 2, and 2. 2 RBs, 2 receivers, 2 flex. Sound good? Great. $200 budget. Let's get into this here. Now, how long has this league been going?
I want to say this is year 6 for the actual auction format of it, but we've all played together in like different leagues for well over a decade, I'd say, at this point.
Wow. Okay, so 6-year auction. This is complete redraft, no keepers, no nothing.
It's straight up new every single year.
Okay, so you're claiming that now you're claiming you have the best team, but who has been the most mouthy about being the best team?
See, that's the thing. People are pretty in this league. They're pretty subdued, simply because every single year there's a shark that comes in and just completely destroys. So I think that Jazz, who you know from our Dynasty Dirtballs league,
I hate that guy.
I think he's tied for the most championships with 2.
Okay, so let's look at his draft first, then. So you are crazy. You are so maniacal with this Excel format. So I'm going to go ahead and ask you a question that we didn't prep for.
All right.
But give me the running back. It seemed like the running backs, so high-end wide receivers, they went for a lot. I mean, we just did our Flex Network Listener League auction draft where it was a $300 budget, and I'm seeing a couple of these guys still at the same price in a $200 budget league. So let's first go, what running back went for the highest amounts? Do you have that? Do you
Alvin Kamara, if you believe it, went for $70.
Okay, actually, so Alvin
have
Kamara.
a look at Mateo's team. He's got Alvin Kamara for $70, Ezekiel Elliott for $55, and he stole Melvin Gordon for $26.
Okay. So if we were going to take that, so let's look at Jazz's team. He's won the most championships. I would have to say that getting Le'Veon Bell and Josh Jacobs together for under the price of Alvin Kamara.
Yep.
That's
$67 combined.
Now, I don't like Josh Jacobs, but for $22 when Alvin Kamara goes for $70, I mean, Marlon Mack went for $25. And I would have to say that, Marlon Mack's probably going behind Josh Jacobs now after this Andrew Luck news. So I would say, I mean, Josh Jacobs, $22. That's a pretty good steal. Evan Ingram, $9. That's a pretty good steal. But where I'm looking at how and Baker Mayfield as your starting quarterback for $5, that's a pretty good steal. I don't know that Go ahead.
Well, I got to point out that so the order in which you see the teams, which the listeners obviously can't see it, it's just the order in which we draft.
You can put it
so
up on your thing.
So Jazz was after me, and the biggest thing is that so I would nominate a player, and then he would go and steal pretty much all the players from me. So the biggest one that I want to highlight is Chris Godwin for $14. One of the strategies that you can implement in your auction is you just wait. If there's a player you really want, you wait as long as you can until the point where values naturally drop, right? Because people just have less money to spend. So I had a little bit of money in my back pocket that I wanted to go after Chris Godwin. Little did I know that Jazz on his little cheat sheet had stars highlighted, underlined, bolded, that he would get Chris Godwin no matter what.
Oh, yeah.
So I waited too long. That was the bottom line. I waited too long, and he outbid me.
And yeah, it is because here's the thing. I'm looking right over here at who is this? That is Jeff's team, the guy right under him. He got Brandon Cooks for $19.
Yep.
I mean, to me, I'm out on Brandon Cooks this year just completely in redraft, and I guess in your standard auction league. But for Chris Godwin, a person who I also have 5 stars for, as we're getting this guy no matter what this year, for $14, $5 less than Brandon Cooks. I mean, that's got to be a steal. Now, here's where Jazz's team sucks. Okay. His bench blows. Okay. Yep. LaShawn McCoy, Larry Fitzgerald, Jalen Samuels, Jamison Crowder. I mean, when you have to put one of these guys in a week, he's going to just throw up a prayer. And that's the type of team.
He's going to be waiver all season.
Yeah, that's the kind of team that I don't like. So looking at the team that went directly behind him, Chris's team. Chris's team is a team that I like. I mean, because he's got Josh Gordon in his starting slot, but Josh Gordon will not be his starting. Where it will be Kenny Golladay that he got for $18, which again, to note, was still less than Brandon Cooks.
Well, look at this. So Chris actually, he was new to the league this year. We've known Chris for a long time. He's a long-time buddy, but he's actually new to this league. So he came in, he was the one guy that we didn't really know. And this was a guy, man, I was impressed. I was extremely impressed with his draft. Like, look at his team. He's got Joe Mixon, Kerryon Johnson, Michael Thomas, Kenny Golladay, Jarvis Landry, Allen Robinson, Curtis Samuel, who he snaked for me, by the way, at the end again.
$5 for the number one receiver on the Carolina
Chris Carson, team. David Montgomery. I'm not I've had a little bit of time to digest, and I'm willing to say that I like Chris's draft the best out of everybody. He came in here and he pretty much took us all to school.
Doing a quick look over of teams, I would have to say that he probably is going to finish number 1 this year. The other team that I like a lot, just honestly, just based on total, I mean, I like Brendan? I like Brendan's team. I like his team. So he's got Damian Williams and obviously Lamar Miller, but he got him for nothing. So he's out. But his bench running backs are James White, Kenyon Drake, Tony Pollard, Justin Jackson. I mean, he's going to be able to play 3 running backs every week. Yep. On top of that, he got Juju Smith-Schuster, Devontae Adams, Travis Kelce. Like, oh my gosh, that's a murderer's row of a team. So he's going to start weekly Kyler Murray, Damian Williams, James White, or Kenyon Drake, which Kalen Ballage is slowly going to recede like a hairline. And Kenyon Drake's going to take back over that team as your number 2 running back. That's not a bad play at all. He's going to roll with that guy, Juju, Devontae, Travis Kelce, and then he's got the starting running back in the Chargers offense, Austin Eckler, for only $5. I mean, I don't see how the owner, which we talked about, Mateo, grabbed Melvin Gordon for 26 and then seemed to let Austin Eckler go for $5 and not grabbing him for $6. That's going to be a mistake. And then Latavius Murray. Now, again, Latavius is probably not going to play weekly just because he's in the flex spot. So he's going to flex a James White in that spot, ideally weekly. But man, that's a throbbing monster versus some of these teams out here that like legit have to play somebody in the flex because they and like a Royce Freeman. You know, he's probably not flex material.
That's final.
He's a bye week starter late in the season for your RB spot, potentially.
Well, it's interesting that some people took the approach of basically stars and scrubs, right? I mean, like you look at like a Mateo's team, you look at a Lionel's team. These are guys that went all in, like Lionel's team, David Johnson, $52, Leonard Fournette, $34, DeAndre Hopkins, $55, Antonio Brown, $39. And then he's pretty much just chilling.
That part's good. But yeah, the rest of the draft,
absolutely.
yeah.
But I think the biggest thing about like the approach that I generally try to take is not spending all my money. I mean, where I went wrong right at the start of the draft. I don't love my team, to be honest. And the reason for that is because I typically don't go for those top running backs, but I let past bidding influence my bidding, because typically in previous years, a lot of these top end running backs went for $70 to $72. So when I was bidding up Christian McCaffrey for $62. I'm like, damn, this is going to be an absolute steal, who I think is going to be the 101 this year. Like I think at the end of the year, it's going to be Christian McCaffrey. And for that, I'm like, okay, for $62, yeah, I mean, these other running backs are going to go for $70+. So this was very early on. I felt like I was catching up for the rest of the draft.
Well, I don't agree with what I think you're being a little bit too harsh, because I think what people tend to do in auction drafts is they, you know, some people get the mechanics of it, some people don't, some people's strategies kind of fuck with your mechanics. And so it's really tough. But to me, after all the auctions that I've, you know, partaken in for the first time over this fantasy draft season, and I'm just elated, I love them. But to me, what's most important in an auction league is filling out your starting lineup with good weekly starters, and don't be you know, ashamed to know that one of your guys, like Mateo's team, is Sammy Watkins. You know, it's like Sammy Watkins every week, you're going to be literally holding on to your stars, hoping that they rocket to the sky. You know what I mean? Where I look at your team, and these are your starters, which are going to play every week and give you good fantasy production. Jameis Winston, Christian McCaffrey, James Conner, T.Y. Hilton, although T.Y. has been knocked down because of the luck news, and you overpaid for him because of that news, but at the same time, he's still going to be a better weekly starter than Sammy Watkins. Tyler Boyd, Hunter Henry, Devontae Freeman, Christian Kirk. And to back it up, you got a Ronald Jones and a Devin Funchess. I mean, I would take Ronald Jones and Devin Funchess over some of these, you know, other startable guys in, you know, Tevin Coleman. I'll take Ronald Jones over Tevin Coleman.
Okay, Matt, I'd be remiss if I didn't ask you to have a look at our buddy Adam's team.
Okay, so let's look at Adam.
Adam's the one who requested that we pod.
Okay, so Adam, this one's for you. Okay, so Patrick Mahomes, Derrick Henry, Dalvin Cook, good. Keenan Allen, good. AJ Green, don't love it. You're gonna have to wait a little bit for him. Well, hold on. Bad, let's see. Let's see what he has to put in that spot. Okay. Now, I'm looking at a killer to put right in that spot. Okay. So then he has George Kittle, who we love this year at the Flex Network. Okay. Mm-hmm. We just had a podcast with Derrick Henry's head football coach from high school, Coach Bobby Ramsey, and he made me fall in love with Derrick Henry all over again. You get him for $23 when Josh Jacobs was $1 less, when Marlon Mack was $3 more. That's gonna be, or $2 more. That's going to be a great pick. And then to back it up with Dalvin Cook for $34, still together, he has the combination of probably the sickest running backs in the league as a combo for the money. And I would compare that to the Saquon Barkley, Darius Geis from Jeff's team, which I will say 69 for Jeff. We're only in the 57s for Adam's team, which I like that combo just as much. So here we go. Julian Edelman for 23, which is a PPR monster every week. And then he stole Miles Sanders for $10. So even if he wants to not play any other running back all year and Miles Sanders the 1 year, he does great there. And he
one of the big things of debates when it happened was the Duke Johnson paying $10. He got a lot of shit in the draft room for paying $10. But guess what? Who looks stupid now, right?
Oh, you're going to be able to put Duke Johnson in there weekly.
Yep.
But the problem is on his team again, and this is kind of the lineup qualms that we all have and why we need to start with picking our best starting lineup, because here's the thing. Duke Johnson at this point is trade bait because he really doesn't need the guy. Okay. So if somebody else is weak at running back, please come hit up Adam. Okay. Because, Duke Johnson, look at Lamar. Okay. Here we go. We got Damian Williams, Lamar Miller. Again, talked about Brendan. I would take Duke Johnson over James White and Kenyon Drake. In that offense, he's finally got his chance. He bitched all offseason. I mean, look at it. It's really a decision of if we should just believe in the guy. The guy believes in himself so much to publicly talk shit to his team, allowing guys like Baker Mayfield to be like, fuck you, I don't want you on my team anymore. And then essentially the coaching staff goes, no, we're going to put him on the team. And then eventually now it's like probably to a point where Baker just like, listen, coach, you got to get this guy off my team. And they go ahead and make the trade. So this guy believes in himself so much that he could potentially tarnish his reputation to bring it back up. And go and trade for Duke Johnson, Brendan, because he doesn't need him. He's got AJ Green. I might go in for a little, maybe you got to give back, your team actually. Like a
Marvin Jones.
No, I don't want to do that. Yeah. I mean, honestly, he doesn't really have anything he can trade. Unless he's
some sort of combo trade. It wouldn't just be a 1-for-1.
Yeah, maybe. Okay. Yeah, maybe you go for like a Julian Edelman, Duke Johnson for a Devontae Adams or something. Shoot, Julian's a good player. You get 2 good players back for one, and he's flexing Latavius Murray weekly. I might make that deal. Book it right here.
You take Latavius Murray or Duke Johnson?
No, that's what I'm trying to say. I'm like, because he's flexing Latavius, I think that deal would be good for him.
Love it.
Yeah, because you don't want to flex Latavius Murray weekly, And obviously Adam's going to take that deal because he drafted AJ Green for $12. So that's kind of a nice little marriage, unless somebody wants to listen to this podcast and just go out there and snipe him. Another trade partner for Adam could be Chris. I mean, Chris has 4 running backs that are all good. He's got a good team.
I like Chris's team a lot.
Yeah. Also, Chris has to go out there and somehow get Kenyon Drake. So maybe what the play is, Chris goes for Kenyon Drake, trades a Jarvis Landry, and then a Jarvis Landry and James White come back to Adam for Duke Johnson. That's probably the play. Book that, guys. Go out and make that trade.
Love it.
Who else are we talking about here? Who sucks? Let's talk about who sucked.
Let's talk about Reed's team. Have a look at Reed's.
Okay, calling out Reed.
No, look. Okay, here's the thing. Reed has won a championship 2 times. I've only ever won it once. So I can't call it shit.
You're shitting all over this guy.
Let's just talk about Reed for a second. So he went and he got Phillip Rivers and Russell Wilson, granted $3 combined. But then he also, for some reason, he spent $3 on the Bears defense, which fine. It is what it is.
Do it. Fuck yeah. That's a great price.
Then he went and he spent $1 on the Chargers defense. Like, why? I don't understand that. It makes no sense.
Yeah, that was dumb.
And he's got 2 tight ends too. He's got Delaney Walker and Jared Cook. So it's just like the 2 quarterbacks.
Yeah,
2 tight
but
ends.
If he wants to put a tight end in the flex, is it tight end premium?
No.
Okay, so I don't love that. But the problem is he got a little bit jumpy. He got jumpy with the values. That's what it was. Yeah. I mean, he did he end with money?
No, he was actually one of the first people done.
What?
He basically, so he had a little bit of money left because, if you look, he spent $1 on Delaney Walker.
He's got he does not have a single person over $50. over even $50. I mean, wow, that team looks like
Yeah.
a team that left with money on the table. So his two big payups were Gurley,
$47 for Mike Evans, which
Adam
comparatively
Thielen.
was high.
But here's the thing again, I'll tell you what I don't like about his team. But his team is a good example of every starter weekly are going to put up good flat. There's not a lot of upside play on his team. But I mean, outside of Calvin Ridley, who you'd likely flex over one of those running backs, probably Philip Lindsay by the end of the year, but still, he's got none of his guys outside a monster from Thielen, Mike Evans, Todd Gurley that are going to score over 20 a week unless you have, or they could consistently score 20 a week. Either way, it's high floor. There's no upside on that team. So you're ripping this guy's team for what? I say weekly he's going to be in the game, but I don't know if he's going to win the game. So,
I think it's more mechanical. The way he put his team together, I don't quite get. You know what I mean? Like, to me, if it's a short bench, you've got 5 bench spots. Why are 3 of those bench spots an extra quarterback, an extra defense, and an extra tight end? To me, it's like the approach that I took, whether it's right or wrong, I went for upside guys, right? Like I drafted Darrell Henderson, Ronald Jones, and Matt Breida. If one of those guys hits, that's a great flex option for me, right? It's you kind of rolling the dice. I got Dante Moncrief, who projected to be the number 2. So to me, it's all upside guys that I went for my bench versus a second defense.
I'm looking at you guys as trade partners, though.
Yeah.
Because the whole Darrell Henderson, he might need him, but he might be arbitraging Darrell Henderson with the Devin Singletary play.
Could be.
I don't like that, so that's an arbitrage that I'm not for. A different player, different team, but same type of idea where he's the number 2 back, but with Darrell Henderson, it feels, now we don't know for sure with Marlon Brown, anything, but it just kind of feels like if Todd Gurley's out for any reason or significance of time,
Malcolm Brown steps in for sure. I think Darrell Henderson.
I was trying to talk up you for a fucking trade. Now you're just sitting there holding Darrell Henderson with your
here's
raincoat on. Jeez.
No. Here's my thought. Okay, I think that Darrell Henderson is probably going to get between 5 to 8 touches a game. I think to start the season, he's going to play a very similar role to like a Justice Hill, for example. Right? He's going to go and he's going to get these kind of like these design plays for him, but if Todd Gurley gets injured, I think that's going to go up to like 10 to 12 touches a game. And then Malcolm Brown's going to probably get 10 to 12 touches a game, right? So it's going to be almost like a 50-50 backfield.
Okay, so what you're saying is you like Devin Singletary more.
No, I don't like – look, Devin Singletary is good. He's going to be good next year. It's too muddled in that Buffalo backfield right now.
You haven't heard of anything of TJ Yeldon all offseason.
It's true, but he's still a vet, man. I mean, like, he's never been a sexy player, but he just when he's on the field, he produces.
Okay, so what you're saying is Reed should come after Darrell Henderson just as a way better bench option than a second defense, and he should pay a Calvin Ridley for him.
Hey, Reed,
if he got back Dante Moncrief.
Yeah.
So Darrell Henderson, Dante Moncrief for Calvin Ridley. That's a good deal, I think, because really what Reed needs is bye-week real starters, because his team is going to tank shit when he has to eat a fucking 0 on his bye week, line, unless he picks someone up, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know what these bye weeks are, but still, I mean, geez, having one fat 0 in your lineup. Plus, this is what I don't like about Reed's team. I don't flex running backs. I don't care who you are. Okay. A wide receiver has the opportunity for an 80-yard touchdown pass at, least. And at most, he's a 5-catch, 80-yard guy with potential on touchdowns. Those are just way more points than you can foresee Philip Lindsay getting every week if he's competing with the wide receiver. I just don't know. That's what I don't like.
If you have the lead back of an offense, I like them going in a flex spot. You're right. If it's like the secondary back, like a Philip Lindsay, like he's more of a bye week starter. in your flex spot versus an every week.
Well, last year's production on Phillip Lindsay was a weekly starter and a weekly dominant play. We just don't know, and that's why I'm having a trouble here. But lastly, let's finish this off with a couple guys we haven't talked about. Dave's
our commish. Yeah, let's tear Dave
apart. He's the commish. Well, Dave, where you messed up, Dave, was the Aaron Jones pick. Okay,
could have had Aaron Jones.
Okay, listen, like him or not, I'm not paying $24 when I can get Derrick Henry in there for $23. Because my problem is Aaron Jones even going to finish the year as the number one running back for the Green Bay Packers? Who knows? I don't know. And that's why I'm not paying $24 for him, especially when, you know, his backup is Tariq Cohen and Justice Hill. We really just don't know what Tariq Cohen's output's going to be weekly with the new awesome running back. I mean, if David Montgomery shows up in week 1 like Nick Chubb did last year, why are you going to take him out on third down if he can block? Okay. Yeah. So Tariq Cohen, now, although he got Tariq Cohen for good money, 5, but again, it's just one of those things where I'm not going out and grabbing Aaron Jones and handcuffing with Tariq Cohen. Okay. That's just not what I would have done, but love his receivers, Julio Jones, Stephon Diggs. Again, what I say is, fill out the starting lineup, see how it plays out for you. What I also think was a steal, just because out his money, we don't like DJ Moore that much this year, but if we are to say that him and Curtis Samuel go for a 50-50, you know, production, then DJ Moore at $6 is definitely worth it as half the price, less than half the price of Chris Godwin. And but we don't like Alshon Jeffrey. Okay, he's old. He's just not exciting. I would have rather, again, for $12, which is what you paid for him. Again, I don't know the situation, right? But I would have much rather gone for a Miles Sanders, knowing that I had an Aaron Jones as my starter, which you could have at least flexed also from the same offense, a starter every week if he, you know, when he takes over that starting job. Have we forgotten anybody? We went to Dave Lionel. We gave Lionel a little bit. Let's give
Lionel's
him a
our reigning champ. I think the only guy we haven't really talked about is Jeff's team.
No, I talked to. I mean,
we talked about Darius Guice.
Yeah, I talked about Jeff a lot, though. I said the Saquon Darius Guice part.
He got it for $4. It kills me.
Well, okay, so yeah, that was dumb. Okay, let's look at Jeff and then Lionel, then we'll end this. So Jeff, again, you know, filling out your weekly starters are great. Okay, and he has done that. Where he fucked up was going for Robert Woods and Brandon Cooks on the same team. Okay, we're definitely out on that. Okay, the only team this year that we might try it with are the Vikings with Thielen and Diggs. That's the only team we're going to try that out with. Not because Jared Goff isn't great and they're poised for another Super Bowl run, but mainly just because it just kind of feels a little stinky to me that Brandon Cooks, Robert Woods, that one of those, you know.
I just feel like every week you're going to inherently limit your upside. Because typically, I mean, I have to go back and look at the exact game logs, but how often are you going to see both guys go off every single week? It's not very often, and I just think that by having both players on your team, it just limits your upside.
Yeah, so, totally does. So, but I mean, if they play and they're consistent, that's a fine play weekly. You just don't. It's volatile. Exactly. But you got Tyreek Hill, high upside, Saquon, high upside, Zach Ertz, consistent top 3 tight end in the league. So at least you have some security there. But again, with the bench, it's all high upside outside of Aaron Rodgers, obviously, because you had to pay up because you knew, Luck. But Luck's gone, so you have to drop him. Aaron Rodgers in, you need another quarterback. There's probably some on the waivers. You'll be good. But D.D. Westbrook is a good play. I just don't know. Again, Jordan Howard might lose his job by week 3. Valdez Scantling, no one knows, but goodbye at $1. And Peyton Barber, $1. Goodbye if you're not exactly sure if Ronald Jones is going to take the job or not. So, I mean, it's okay. It's okay. I like it. I definitely like it. Again, each week he's going to put up numbers. Again, there's just same deal with Reed's team, where it's just kind of a more of a floor team than an upside team outside of Tyreek. I mean, obviously Tyreek could have just monster games. So who knows?
Absolutely.
And then to finish with Lionel, Lionel is he's old in the tooth. in the league here. Matt Ryan, David Johnson, Leonard Fournette, Antonio Brown, Eric Ebron, Tevin Coleman's never been a starter. Royce Freeman is young, but he might not be the starter. Cortland Sutton, good. Anthony Miller, good. Jared Goff, good. Okay. Kareem Hunt, terrible. We said last podcast we're out on Kareem Hunt this year, but the Geronimo Allison play for $1,
yeah,
that's actually pretty good. Here's the thing: he's probably going to have to play him because he's got potentially 2 guys that are on their way out, so he might definitely have to play him. His receiver depth is good. So, I mean, DeAndre Hopkins, Antonio Brown, Cortland Sutton, Anthony Miller, Geronimo Allison, that's great.
Yeah.
But and actually, you know what? I'm condoning this team because I don't play running backs in the flex. So maybe what I'm doing wrong here is I'm looking at the flexes and I'm seeing Tevin Coleman and Royce Freeman just as because you put them there. See, Shane, this was your problem again in our flex network listener. We don't see, you don't read it as if you're the guys you just happen to get put in the flex. And no, come on. He's not going to play those guys in the flex. So it's because Shane messed up on the thing. Lionel actually has a good team. I mean, it's a redraft team. I mean, we don't in redraft, we don't care if he's young. You know, we want production. David Johnson, Leonard Fournette, DeAndre Hopkins, Antonio Brown, Eric Ebron, Matt Ryan. That's a good team.
Yeah.
And he followed it up with a young backups, Cortland Sutton, Anthony Miller, you know, and then 2 older running backs just because, hey, why not put them in? They're cheap, $7 for the pair. Tevin Coleman, Royce Freeman. That's a good $7 spent.
Yep.
I actually like that team. Don't think that team's going to be the winning team, but I like that team.
Lots can change between now and the end of the season.
Yes, so we can reference back on this, brothers. Chris is the team that I am picking this year, if only, okay, only if, actually, and I think Mateo might play him. So I'll just say that Mateo only because I mean he's got guys that. Melvin Gordon and Sammy Watkins in the flex, but he has Debo, Robbie Anderson, Sterling Shepard, Deshaun Jackson. Both are upside guys weekly. Yeah. So that's who you want in your flex. You want guys that, hey, this week I just happened to get lucky. I happen to draft Deshaun. Hold on. I'm on roll. I happen to draft Robbie Anderson. And Sammy Watkins is on a bye, and Robbie Anderson is playing the worst defense in the league. Great, you know. So I'll pick Chris and Mateo.
So you're calling Chris and Mateo in the final, and you're calling Chris to take home the championship. You're staying here.
You know, I like Brendan's team though too. Okay. If Brendan can make the trade, and he can get himself a guy, a better, you know, if he can get him a running back too. And maybe somebody else to play instead of Latavius Murray weekly. He's a sleeper. He's a dark horse. Obviously, your team's a dark horse because you're a part of the Flex Network.
Always.
Your team's not a dark horse. It doesn't have
a lot of sex appeal, right?
Well, it's just a T.Y. Hilton thing. If T.Y. wasn't there, obviously, right? Yeah. Instead of T.Y., if you went for Josh Jacobs, $22, Cooper Kupp, 13, and Rashad Penny for 1, then it would look, you know, a little bit better. But obviously, you can't, you know. David Montgomery for $9 is the steal of the draft by Chris. David Montgomery for $9. And let me tell you, he already had 3 premier running backs on on his team. Joe Mixon, Kerryon Johnson, Chris Carson, and then he fucking sneaks in and flexes on everybody with a $9 David Montgomery, a $3 Jarvis Landry, a $5 Allen Robinson, a $5 Curtis Samuel. Get out of here. Okay. Chris is going to win this year. Shane, you got anything left for these knaves that you play fantasy football with?
Just tears. That's it. Tears and disappointment. Oh my gosh.
Look at this. I didn't even see this. Look. Who is that with the baby?
Love it.
Live auction league with the Flex Network. Matt offers the best, greatest deals, of course. He generally flexes RBs. They have more opportunity. That's also why he's never won a league in his life. Alshon is a Super Bowl champ. You shut your mouth, Eagles truther. Mike Williams. Goff is only good because of McVay. Good input, brother. Thank you so much. Shane, what's up, brother? How can we all find you?
Hit me up at Sealy_Shane on Twitter.
And this might be gold, Shane. If you are listening this far in and would like us to review your draft, $1, we will review it on air. $1. We'll
probably do it for free. Let's be honest.
No, we're not. We have to do it for $1 single via PayPal. Thank you, everybody. This is the Flex Network.